How's it going, guys? We got an actual episode for you this week, not like the last week's phoning in of a just for the sake of posting something episode. For consistency's sake, this is an actual talk, and I actually get somewhere with it and I talk about something that really bothers me a lot, and the thing that the situation that I've found myself in where I'm trying to figure out between comedy and music. Like, you'll see. But yeah, I talk about something that I've never really discussed publicly, I don't think. Again, which I think a lot of these episodes ends up having something pop out that I wasn't really planning on talking about, but just that's where my brain leads it. So excited for you guys to see that. And yeah. I'm going to try to keep this intro short, by the way. I always end up rambling for way too long because I do this right after I finish the episode, and I've talked for an hour. I don't want to get long-winded in this thing. So what I'm going to do now is just say, please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel on YouTube. Please click the notification bell so that you'll be notified when we go live in moments like this or when we post a new video. Or when we post a new video like this and go live. I said that backwards. Who cares? And if you are listening, please make sure to follow this podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and leave a review on each of these platforms if you would like. And if you don't mind, please share this episode link as well. Doesn't matter how many followers you have. If you just click share and post that somewhere, it shows the algorithm that this thing might be worth listening to, whether it is or not. And it helps me out a lot, and I'd appreciate that. If you guys would like to help further, we have Patreon and we have YouTube memberships. There are two tiers of the Patreon, $5 and $10. And then there's one tier on YouTube, which is a $5 tier. And that helps me out more than you know. It really helps me out more than you know. If you'd rather not deal with getting any more notifications, or that's not your speed and you just want to help out a one-off type of situation, you can tip Frankie. Frankie's tips go straight to me. They don't have to meet some sort of threshold to be paid out, and they don't have to be subject to the 30% cut that YouTube takes. Those come straight to my PayPal, and it helps out more than you know. Also, it's my birthday. As you guys are watching this right now, it is officially my birthday on Monday the 14th. So if you're listening on audio, it's my birthday. Drop Frankie a little birthday tip on our behalf. Anyway, not going to hold you guys up anymore. Going to let you get on with the episode, and thank you for being here. That's all I got for you. I hope you enjoy episode number 8. Is it number 8 or number 9? It's one of those. Who knows? Enjoy it, guys. Thank you for being here. So I guess in the grand scheme of things, if there were no way to communicate things that you wanted out of life to the universe or to God or to whatever that thing, whatever you want to call that thing in your own heart, if there were zero way to verbally communicate what you want out of this life to that thing, the only thing left that whatever that thing is would be able to judge what you want out of life would be by your actions. I know I said that really sloppily. But whatever the thing is that you want to do with your life should be spearheaded by your actions that get you closer to that thing. And the only reason I bring that up first at the top of this episode is because I don't think that I have been showing the universe what I want. Realistically, if God or the universe or whatever that thing is were to reward me with what I want, I think I'm showing it that I want to never leave my room or sleep all day, sit at my computer desk and eat food that I've prepared while watching YouTube shorts and watch other people cook things. All I'm saying is that, like, I've put a lot of energy and effort in my life into becoming what I believe to be a decent musician. And I've all but completely stopped doing that in front of people, minus Thursdays at the Secret Show, which you should 1,000% come see every Thursday in Austin at Sunset Strip. Other than that, I've pretty much completely stopped performing live music. And the excuse used to be, well, I want to show the universe that I'm serious about doing comedy, so that I'm doing more comedy now than music. But as of the last couple of weeks, I'm doing a lot more music than comedy, and by only doing it once a week, that's startling, because to be good at comedy and to get better at comedy, you do have to keep going up. And I just haven't been doing that lately. I haven't been showing that side of what I want to the universe. And that brings me to a startling point. I'm having an identity crisis. And I don't know what I want to do with my life. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do with my life. I thought I wanted to just come to Austin and be a stand-up comic, which is kind of what I've been trying to do. And I thought that was all that I wanted. But here I am doing that, and I'm not getting anywhere with it. And I think that has resulted in me kind of losing interest in it a little bit. And that's not good, because this is a thing that I wanted to do. And then I'm listening to things like Jelly Roll on Rogan, where he's talking about, like, winning new artist of the year at the CMAs when he's 40. And I'm nearing that. My birthday is tomorrow. I'll be 38 at midnight, so in about 3 hours. And I'm thinking, man, out of all of the time and effort that I put into being a decent musician, I'm not utilizing any of that, and I'm not showing the world that I want to be that by my actions. And that's terrifying to me, because it's like I've put all of this effort in, and I still grab my guitars over here, and at the end of the night, right before I go to bed, I'll sit around and just shred for a minute just to make sure I can still do it. And I'm not doing that with comedy at all. So it's almost like I have this thing in me that has this urge that I have to play some sort of music, like I have to get that out. but I don't have it in me to leave work and go see if I can get 2 spots in at the end of the night, or to leave the house on my day off to go get some time in somewhere on stage to do stand-up. And it's never been a secret that I just don't have the fire in me to chase it down like all of my other, like my colleagues, my peers. And I still have fun going on stage, and I don't think I'm a bad comedian. But I could definitely do a lot better. I could definitely do better work as a comic to improve myself comedically, and I could do better. I could work harder, I could try harder, I could ask for spots. I could do better. But I just haven't yet. And that's bothersome to me. And just, I've been having this thing lately to where I'm like, I put all my effort into being a musician, and I'm hardly using that now. But instead, I've put a lot of effort into trying to become a better stand-up, and I'm not using that either. So what I mean is, I've gotten to this point to where I'm like, literally, what am I doing with my life? And honestly, I don't know. And that's scary to me. I had a few manic days. I had a little bit of a manic episode, which is such a shitty thing to say. I don't like speaking in these terms. Oh, yeah, well, I was having a little manic episode the other day. It just sounds so, it's something that I hate. But lately I've kind of been not capitalizing on the things that I've put all of my time into up to this point. Like, I haven't been trying to do music. I haven't been trying to do comedy. I even had a music gig the other day, but I wasn't feeling well. My stomach was fucked up. And to be honest, I probably could have pushed through it. If I would have had that urge to where it's like, I have to do this thing, this is something I have to do. If I had that going for me, then it would have been easy for me to just show up and just be there and be part of it and do the thing. But I didn't. And I think it's because I'm not prioritizing that in my life. I'm not, for lack of a better explanation, I'm not showing God or showing the universe that that's what I want to do with my life. And I believe that, back to the original point, that if you really want to do something, you have to show that higher understanding proof. You have to prove to that higher understanding with your actions and not with your words. And I thought that, man, maybe because I'm colossally introverted, and I felt like leaving my hometown, getting out of Murrells Inlet, getting out of South Carolina. I thought doing that was evidence enough that, like, hey, I'm serious about this thing, universe. I'm serious about this thing, God. But that doesn't seem to be the case. And unfortunately, I think that's landed me into a deeper rut that I'm going to have to dig myself out of, just to get back to the level of where it's like, okay, so you are serious about doing this. And I don't know what steps I need to take to get back to that point. And quite honestly, I'm scared that I've kind of gone too far to turn around and say, okay, I'm going to be serious about this thing. I'm going to, pick up my pick up my stethoscope and walk. That's a Pink Floyd reference. And also a Bible reference. I don't know. I guess in all of this rambling, what I want to get to the bottom of is, how do I make myself comfortable enough to get out there, put myself out there comedically or musically or both. And I always said that the thing that you're supposed to do will find you, and there will be nothing you can do. You'll be powerless to escape the thing that you're meant to do from finding you, I believe. And I think music was that thing. I think that I'm supposed to do that. It's foolish of me to try to think that there's something else. And though I was always trying to be funny, always the class clown, doing all of the things, like all of my friends would always say, you should do stand-up. You'd be a funny comedian. All of those things that all the comics say, oh, well, this thing happened, parents divorced, class clown. All of my friends would say, you should get on stage and do comedy. All of my friends did all of that stuff. Those things all apply to me. But music was the thing that just made sense to me the most. And because I made kind of a career out of it back home for some time, I'm finding it really difficult to convince myself that and that alone isn't what I was intended to do. And I believe now wholeheartedly that because I've kind of shifted my interests towards comedy versus music, I feel like when I go back to music, that music is going to be like that jaded lover that is going to be like, oh, so now you want me. So now after you've been off hoeing with your side bitch, now you want me. And I think that I think that that's somehow how it works. And I don't know if that's how it works, but I have a hunch. I have a hunch it works like that. And that's, I don't know. I don't like that. I don't like that truth. But that's just it, man. That's just how it is. Or so I think. And I'm probably wrong, because I am often quite wrong. But yeah. What do you guys think about that? Am I crazy for thinking this and for giving such human what's the best word to use there? To give such human characteristics to something that is way greater than my understanding with the human mind. Like, whatever powers that be that are in charge of us reaching whatever that goal is, which I believe is, yes, ourselves. But I kind of like to think that there is something more intelligent than us that is kind of in control of, like a gatekeeper to your next step, basically. Like, for lack of a better explanation, I'm going to give like a video game term. Like, you can't move on to this level in the story until you complete these tasks. And I believe that there are tasks that I need to complete before I can advance in the storyline of my life. And I don't know that I'm doing anything to advance that. In fact, I don't even think I'm exploring the map, if you will. I don't think I'm even exploring the map in my own situation here. I don't think I'm doing a good job of moving the storyline in a towards my destination. And I don't know what. I think I do know what, but I just keep saying I don't know what to do to change that, to give me an excuse to, like, oh, well, you don't know what to do, so I guess there's nothing you can do. And that's so unhealthy of me to think and feel. But I'm realizing that, which has led me to this grand realization of I'm not showing the universe by my actions what I want or what I'm willing to do to get to where I want to go. And I'm kind of just taking my time. And I feel like maybe I'm going to blame I'm going to kind of blame my age on this in comedy, because a lot of my peers all got started in comedy around the same time that I did, except I was about 10 to 15 years older than them when I got started in it. And I don't think that has done me any favors. And granted, I did land myself in a situation to where I've kind of gained the respect of some of, some of the most important people in the scene in this city. I do have the respect of a lot of those people, but I don't think that came from comedy. I think that came from who I am as a person, which is doing enough on its own. Just being a good person and trying to not get in my own way, which I still do sometimes. And I have moments where I am just being a psychopath and just an absolute crazy person. And unfortunately, there are people that I care about that take the brunt of that. And that's not fair to them. And I realize that. But I just don't think that I've been doing it right. And I think that my results are showing that. My results are showing that I haven't been doing this right. Or lack of results, rather. And there are things that I need, or assurances that I need, rather, that will allow me to move from this spot mentally. And I haven't been successful in finding those assurances. And because of that, I've been just sort of placing the blame elsewhere, when truthfully, it's my fault. I'm to blame here for ending up where I've ended up. And I am at fault for being who I am and being the way that I am, which has resulted in me landing where I'm at. And I don't think that I'm so weird about getting where I want to be on my own accord rather than someone else's. Because when I get to the destination I want to arrive at, I want to get there knowing that I am the one that brought me here, you know? Nobody else brought me here. I'm the one that did this. I'm responsible for getting where I got, and I'm responsible for everything that I have now that I'm here. I want to think that, but that's not how things work. And I'm starting to realize that you don't do anything in life alone. Really. You don't really do anything in life alone. You almost always have some sort of help. Even if you don't think you do, I think that a lot of times you do have help. And I'm so weird about taking help from someone, or I'm just so weird about it. And I mean, like, the specific kind of help I mean is, like, I don't want to think like someone is just going to take me and push me to the top. And honestly, I wouldn't deserve that, especially in the situation that I'm in now, to where I'm not doing anything spectacular at all to show that I deserve to be given that sort of opportunity. But I think the message I'm sending out to myself and the universe collectively right now is that I'm willing to figure that out, I think. Is that the word? That figure it out probably isn't the best. I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to listen to what I need to do, is what I'm saying. I'm willing to take advice from, I think, the universe. And maybe the universe will act through somebody who might say something that I need to hear. But I think that just seeing other people's situations play out in front of me helps out a lot, because I'm pretty good at learning from other people's mistakes. I'm pretty good at also learning from other people's successes. And I was listening to a little bit of that Jelly Roll podcast with Rogan. Only reason I haven't listened to any Jelly Roll's music. But I do know that everybody who I've come in contact with, that I know personally, that also know him, absolutely adores this guy. And I feel a certain kinship with that, because I feel a similar thing. I feel that I'm afflicted with a similar thing, to where maybe we haven't done all of the best things with our lives. But one thing that has remained consistent is that we are willing to let that thing, which is music, move through us. And that's what it really is. Like, anybody who's gotten anywhere rightfully in music, that has any sort of a name, I think has, like, sold their soul basically to music. And that's as good a term as any, is just to say, like, hey, I'm yours. Do with me what you will. Like, I am your vessel to get out into the world. Do with me as you will. And I think that a lot of people have done that. And I feel that Jelly Roll has done that. that he has given himself up to music to say, okay, just a great song is like, it's not, you can write it from your perspective and use words that you know and use situations that you know, but the message in that song is something that you kind of just grab as it flows by you in the abyss, and you have to put words to that feeling so that someone else can understand, oh, okay, so you felt this too. And I feel a kinship with him on that, and I feel I'd like to have this conversation with him one day, and I will have this conversation with him, and we'll get to the bottom of it. But I think that that's something that we both share, which is pretty wicked, to be honest, and it kind of gives me a little hope to know that a lot of the best artists that are around right now did so after they had gotten to be a certain age and had a little bit of wisdom around them, and they just kept going. And the only thing that I don't have that all of those other guys have is I don't have the will to force myself to continue to put forth effort. I'm very much, if it takes effort for me to do, that means it's not for me to do, and I'm not going to do it. But I'm not going to get anywhere if I continue to have that mindset. I have to start putting effort into things. I have to do better about that. I must. There's no choice. I have no other options. I must do better. I have to do better. And I am coming to terms with that fact, and I think that that's gonna result in me actually buckling down and deciding, okay, it's time for me to start actually showing the universe that this is what I'm ready for. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think I have been ready for it. And I'm still pretty sure I'm not. I'm still sure I'm not ready. But I need to maybe get myself in a better position to be ready. And that's a tough one. To force myself into being ready and check off all of the remaining boxes that have yet to be checked that have prevented me from being prepared to enter into the next chapter of my storyline. I'm just not sure how to go about that. I'm not sure how to maneuver this. And I've never really been sure in the past either. But I've kind of ended up where I needed to go so far by just kind of floating along here. Which is not entirely true. I kind of needed Red Band to say, hey, get the fuck out of Myrtle Beach. Come to L.A. to put the idea, okay, maybe I could. And then, hey, you know what? We're actually moving to Austin. That's half the way. That's even closer to you. Why don't you just do that? I kind of needed to be coaxed out of my hole, and that's what happened. And 3 years later, I'm still here plugging away, you know. So I think that the fact that I've made it 3 years. By the way, this past week was my 3-year anniversary of moving to Austin. I left Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, on October 11th, 2021, and I put my key under my mat at my apartment after I locked the door, and And I left, and as I was maybe 30 minutes away from my apartment, driving towards my dad's house to spend the night before we got up that morning to go to Alabama to spend the night and then get up the next day to come to Austin. 30 minutes after I left my house, I hit a deer. Here's something. I had everything in my car. My dad had already picked up a trailer full of all of my belongings and was ready to literally drive me halfway across the country to my new life. And I had the thought, I could just go back home. I could just go back to Murrells Inlet. I could send a message to my landlord saying, hey, I changed my mind. I don't think I want to move anymore. I'm scared. I'm comfortable here. And I'm honestly scared of my new life. And a deer steps out in front of my car, hit the deer, and for every other reason, I could have just said, I don't want to do it, and I'm scared. And that would have been the truth. But I didn't. I got out of my car, and I opened up one of my vacuum-sealed bags of clothes and pulled a pair of socks out of there because I didn't have any gloves. I don't own any gloves. Pulled my socks out of there, and I went and put socks on my hands and grabbed my fender and snatched it away from my tire just enough so that my car could run. And I drove it from where I got hit, from where I hit the deer, all the way to my dad's house, which that took me probably, I don't know, an extra hour and a half to get there at that speed. But I got there, and the next morning, I pulled everything that I had in my car out, and I put it in my dad's truck. And my dad was like, I got an idea. I got an old truck at my house at the lake in Alabama that they'd use to just do a little running around the lake, like carrying the garbage to the end of the thing. And when we got there, he was like, all right, now you can drive this truck. You can take this truck to Texas and you drive this until you get your insurance money back for your car. And then you get a new car, or either I'll sell you this truck. But the point in that is that here's something that I went to a minute ago was I could have turned around, could have went back home. I could have just been comfortable and kept playing music with Cornbread and the American Sound and doing solo gigs. I could have continued to make that level of money that I was making, which was incredible, dude. Could have done that, but I didn't. I think that deer was the universe asking me, are you sure? And by continuing to stay on course, I believe that was me answering wholeheartedly, yes, I'm sure. And it was like, okay. So that was the payment. That was almost like the final farewell from my old life. Of saying like, okay, here is the marker, and here you go. So I went on, and the first year that I lived in Austin was really, really good. Like, I got on Kill Tony a bunch. And from those Kill Tony pulls, I still get recognized pretty much every day, multiple times by random people who don't know me, but have seen me on the show, and it just happens every day, multiple times. And I really, those little interactions do more for me than you know. But I don't know what it was. I don't know where my, actually, I know exactly where it all changed. It changed when I stopped hanging out with everybody, because apparently there was some mess going around. There was some mess going around at Vulcan where people were getting drugged, and nobody knew who was doing what at that time. And everybody was just, I think, grasping at, oh, well, this might be it. This could be the thing. But anyway, long story short, my name got brought up in all of that nonsense. And my feelings were hurt so much that I was just like, okay, well, I'll just stop hanging out with everybody then. I'll just stop going around. Like, if that's the case, if these are the people who I've been hanging out with, and they don't know me well enough to know that that's nothing that I would ever do, then I don't want to be associated with those people then. Like, if they don't trust me enough to just, like, if they distrust me enough to be able to make a claim like that, then I don't want to be associated with these people. And that really hurt my feelings, man. It broke my fucking heart. And it really caused a lot of huge negativity in my life. It caused a massive amount of oh no, now I'm here in a strange place, surrounded by people that I didn't know at all until I moved here, and now everybody thinks something terrible about me, and I don't know what to do. And that freaked me out. And I lost my shit, dude. I started just reclusing into my old ways of just never going anywhere, coming straight home, not being part of the hang, not going to spend time with anybody, not just not living my life, basically. And I'm still kind of there. But and I kind of blame all of that situation for that. Like, I was doing really good, but then all of that mess happened, and all of these alleged comments started to really take a toll on me. And because of that, I stopped living my life. I pretty much just put a plug in everything. I pretty much just literally kind of put a plug in all of it. And then Kill Tony left after Mothership. I got the Mothership showcase nod, so I did try out to be a door guy, but I didn't get it. And to be honest, I didn't deserve it, because I had just got back from a vacation where I went home to do a gig with Cornbread, and I just stood in my the room that I was staying in there, and I just ran my 3-minute set over and over and over and over in front of mirrors, which is a terrible idea, because you're not getting any kind of feedback from anybody. You need to do that sort of stuff in front of people. And then I go up and I'm not prepared. I follow Casey Rocket, who is an absolute monster, and I didn't address the fact that we're different things. And that just, I just made a lot of mistakes in that set. Didn't get the Mothership thing. But then at that point, I was like, I had just gotten a little bit of dollars from my Uncle Roger, R.I.P. Uncle Roger. His birthday was yesterday, the 12th. And I'd gotten a little bit of money from him after he passed, and that came in at that time. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to pay rent for a few months and just back away, focus on comedy, focus on music, focus on the YouTube streams. And that was really when I got started doing streaming, which is a thing that I'm putting a lot of energy into now. But all of this stuff happened at the right time, where I just kind of stepped away from Vulcan and started spending a lot of time at home in my room. But the culprit of all of that was the situation where people like, and somebody, I'm not even going to say who, but I mean, it's somebody that you all know, and is somebody pulled me to the side and said, hey, I love you. I'm your friend and I trust you, but other people are saying this and I can't control what other people are saying. And I was pretty much just like, well, I'm pretty fucking offended. I'm pretty fucking offended that that's a thing. And they were like, I know, trust me, I was offended as well. And then I'm just like, well, what do I do now? Literally, what do I do now? How do I can't put this back. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube once it's out. And that was the culprit. That moment when I realized that people were saying those things about me. And the crazy part about it is that people were getting drugged. And the people that were getting drugged were like, there was no reason. I had no reason to do anything like that. Even on paper, if somebody was trying to build a case, there would have been zero reason that I would have had to do something like that. Zero reason. So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to remove myself from this situation. But unfortunately, removing myself from a situation to where people were wrongfully accusing me of bullshit also removed me from a situation to where I was hanging out with really, really well-connected people who could help my career in a big way. And not just that, but we were friends. I was friends with all of these people, and I still am. But just being in that situation, man, just kind of really, really fucked my head up for a long time. And it hurt my feelings like so bad. It really hurt my feelings, which is kind of a bitch thing to say, but it's the truth. But doing that put a pause on my career, I think. It paused my entire career in a huge way. And that kind of breaks my heart, knowing that I could be so much further along than I am now if I would have just said, that's bullshit. And this is crazy. And then just move on. But I didn't react that way because my feelings were fucking hurt. And I've done so much to try and better myself ever since I quit drinking and quit doing powder and all of this nonsense. And even right now, I don't even hardly smoke that much anymore. Like, I will during a stream, but out in my life, like, and a quarter is lasting me as long as an ounce was lasting me. And, or maybe longer. But, I'm so disappointed in myself for allowing the other people that were saying these things about me win. it wasn't fair to my career what I did after. It wasn't fair for me to do that to future me, to just pull myself completely out. But after I quit hanging out with everybody, people kept getting drugged. So one thing that resulted in was that, like, oh, okay, well, I guess it wasn't Yonder. It's like, no shit, it wasn't. I don't know, man. I'm still pretty upset about that. I'm upset about why they thought that as well. I'm just because, like, I worked there, just because I worked at Vulcan, and this whole comedy, this whole, like, Hollywood era of mentality where it's like, oh, this person is jealous of me, so this person is going to try to take me out or make me look bad so that they look better. And it's that whole fucking, I hate that. That's so LA, dude. That's one thing I've learned about the differences in the comedy scenes, is that one of the main things about a comedy scene is that a lot of people will try to tear down other people so that they themselves look better. And that ain't no way to live. And am I guilty of some of those thoughts? Yeah, I am. Sometimes I will think, oh, well, this person does that. That makes me feel like, oh, I got something more figured out. I got something a little better figured out than they do. And that's not a fair thought. And I'm pointing out the fact that it's not fair. And I know that. But just to completely go out there and just tell a bunch of people something absolutely not true about somebody, just to try and fuck them over so that you can weasel in, and because that 100% happened. There were people who literally utilized that situation to say, I told you so. I told you I didn't trust this person. I told you. And then they end up weaseling their way into the spot in the friend group that I was in. And now I'm just like, okay, if you want it that bad, you go ahead. You take that. Because one thing that is for sure is that all things come to light. Light is so much more powerful than the dark. You can try to keep all the shit you do in the dark all you want to, but light will get to that. That's a fact, brother. Light will get to that thing that you try to keep in the dark. If you try to keep something like that hidden, then light looks for it even more. The more you try to hide something, the more light tries to find it. And that's just all there is to that. So thankfully, all of this nonsense is all water under the bridge now, and everything is all kosher with everybody that was involved. And that makes me happy. It makes me sad to know that I had to go through this almost investigation, for lack of a better term, which isn't what it literally was, but that's the best way I can describe whatever this whole thing was. That was like, oh, okay, so now we know you're good. But I'm like, I think you could have known that without the bullshit. I will say this: the one positive thing about that is that I know that I have a few absolute juggernauts on my side. And I know that and by on my side, that's probably not the best way to put that. I know that there are people who have my back. I know that they're very, like, important, powerful people who know who I am and have my back. And that's one really good thing that came of that whole situation, which I'm proud of that fact. Very, very proud of that fact. But anyway, what I need to do now is to get back on track. Like none of that was ever a situation, and just start putting myself out there again and spending time with people and hanging out and being part of the hang and showing my face so that people will remember that I'm around, because out of sight, out of mind is a thing. And the higher you get in your career, the more clear it is that that's a thing. And because people aren't seeing me around, they're not seeing my face, and I'm looking around and I'm seeing people who do hang around a lot that are getting more chances at things than I get, specifically because they hang around and people see their face and they're like, oh yeah, I remember you are here. Because everybody's living too much of life is moving at too fast of a rate and too fast of a pace right now for anybody to sit there and think, oh, well, I wonder how Yonder's doing. I haven't seen him in a while. People aren't thinking, like when your life is moving at such a rate, you don't have time to stop and think, oh, well, I wonder how this person's doing that I had a lot of moments with in the past. And I'll get messages all the time that after I finally get to them, I'll have like 3 or 4 messages from somebody that's like, oh yeah, you end up moving to Austin and now you're too famous to talk to these people, or even like I'll even have like family members, like distant family members who will like, oh, you too good to talk to family now or whatever. And to be perfectly honest, I don't have to explain this, but I don't really view family like most people do. To be perfectly honest, dude, I don't. My mom, I don't give a shit about. I hope that the next piece of contact I have from her is somebody telling me that she is no longer with us. My dad's incredible. My dad and my stepmom and my sisters and all, they're all great, and I love them to death. And I love all of my family. Don't get me wrong, but my granddad, who was the patriarch of the household that I grew up in, and my grandmother, who was the matriarch, are both dead. My Aunt Marie, who was my biggest inspiration in pretty much getting out into the world, leaving the hometown, doing the music thing, she is also dead. So there were 4 people that lived in the house that I grew up in. Myself, Marie, Granny, and Pa, all of them are dead except for me. I'm the only one left. So if I don't have the same proclivity for family that everyone else does, you're going to have to just give me a pass on this. My life isn't like your life. I don't have the same desires I don't have the same, I'm not made from the same stuff is what I'm getting at. Maybe I was cut from the same cloth, but I've been through a different set of things. But what I'm getting at is that even in my situation, and I am not even close to famous or anything like that, but from the viewpoint of somebody who sees me on like posting Kill Tony clips or something like that, in their eyes, maybe I am. In their eyes, maybe I am what they would call famous. And I've had it, and this is why it bothers me so much, is because it's happened dozens of times where people are like, oh, you too big to hang out with somebody. It was happening in Cornbread. When I left my hometown of Bennettsville to move to Myrtle Beach, I'd be getting messages, and by the time I got around to looking at them, it would say, oh, you're too good. You're too good. You're down there in your fancy band down in Myrtle Beach. You're too good to talk to us anymore. Too good to even respond. And I'm like, dude, like you have to understand, like I have a whole life that I'm living. I can't, I don't have the brain capacity to be able to think, oh, wonder what this guy's doing that I went to 7th grade homeroom with. It's just, it's silly. It's a silly thought to even entertain that. Oh yeah, well maybe dude's got a life to live. So that's what I'm basically saying, is that there are people that I'm friends with that are way beyond anywhere where I probably will ever be. That I see them, and then it's like, hey, I see them and they get excited, and we have a moment, and it's just like we pick up right where we left off. But I can't expect them to just think, oh, I wonder how Yonder's doing. I haven't heard from Yonder in a while, because they don't, out of sight, out of mind. You don't have the brain capacity to keep up with that stuff all the time. Is basically what I'm getting at. So if I can't do it in my own life at my low level of whatever this thing is, I can't expect any of them to feel anything like that or think anything like that. So I need to start getting out more. I need to start showing my face more. And I guess this is that. I guess that's what I need to do, is just start making it a point to be part of the hang. Making it a point to get out there, and do the damn thing. So I guess that's what I'm going to start doing. I guess that's what I need to start doing. And now that I've said it, I'd like a little accountability on this. And maybe if you hear this point, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Maybe if you hear this part of the podcast, take this as my permission for you to try to invite me to do things out, try to get me to go be part of the hang, because I do kind of need to be coaxed out. As weird as it sounds, I kind of need that, and I don't like that about myself, but that's something I'm realizing about myself. So at least pointing it out makes it real, and makes it pretty much exposes that about myself. So I'm just trying to be fully transparent, and I'm going to give pushback. I'm going to say no thank you, and I'll probably say no thank you a dozen times before I actually say yes, but I will eventually say yes. So there's that. All right. So all of that being said, thank you all for letting me ramble at you for a moment. Sorry that I didn't do more last week. I was just not feeling it. I've kind of been in my head a little bit. Getting out is a struggle that I have to work out on my own. And I will get out of it. I'll get out of all of this for sure. But until then, you guys being here, you guys just showing up, watching this video, allowing me to just kind of just get this shit off of my chest in front of you, it helps a lot. So thank you all for showing up. Thank you all for watching this thing. And just a quick reminder, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel if it's not too much trouble. And click the notification bell on YouTube so that you'll be notified when I go live or post a new video just like this. And if you are listening on audio, please leave a review. Please follow wherever you listen to podcasts. Download the episodes as they come out on Apple Podcasts, or simply follow on Spotify and listen there, or Amazon, or wherever it is you listen. Just please leave a review, follow, and share anywhere you can. So long as you share, it doesn't matter if you don't have any followers or anything like that, or not like a big following. Just the fact that you click share and post it somewhere helps the algorithm out a lot, and it helps me out a lot. So I'd appreciate that. And if you guys want to help out further, there's the ways of doing that. You can become a puddin' on the Patreon, which gets the early posts of the Secret Show pre-shows. They come out the week after, rather than YouTube, where they come out like a month after. Or you can also become a YouTube member, which gets a lot of pictures from the green room, some random videos of behind the scenes at work, and a couple of extra cool things a month that no one else gets that aren't available anywhere else outside of the Patreon. So Patreon and YouTube memberships are two cool ways to help support the channel. And if that's not your speed and you don't really care to be bogged down with any other kind of situations or notifications or anything like that, then you can tip Frankie, and there's a link in the description in which you can do that. And the Frankie tips, they come straight to me. They don't have to go through the YouTube's 30% tip cut. So those come straight to me, and I don't have to wait to reach some sort of a threshold. So any Frankie tip goes straight to my PayPal. So if you guys want to do that, it would help out immensely, and I'd certainly appreciate it. So I'm not going to keep you guys any longer. Thank you all for hanging out and letting me ramble to you for a little bit, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Do something nice for somebody, and don't tell anybody that you did it. That is something that I always tell everybody to do in honor of my Uncle Roger, who would do something like that every single day. And it was his birthday yesterday, so that's just my way of remembering him. Help me do that by doing something nice for somebody and not telling anybody that you did it. All right, guys, be good people, and we'll see you next week. Roll Tide.